Jordy, I want to go to you first. What do you think are the biggest time-wasting mistakes being made by OpenClaw beginners that are holding them back?
Well, I think the barrier to entry is getting easier. And speaking from experience, I'm someone who is like mega curious and I'm a marketing background. So I'm not necessarily developer side of this. And I, as you were saying at the start of the show, was really interested in trying to find an agent to help me do things on a daily basis. So when I was setting it up, I was going through the process of trying to figure out how to host it online or host it in my house for a Mac Mini, all these viral elements of like fluff being thrown at you, right? So for me, I found that the best practice was actually using hardware. I personally found that a lot better than using like an AWS EC2 server, which again, even in saying that, feels totally unnormal. Like I didn't even know what that was until I found OpenClaw. So I would say that the barriers to entry are understanding that having your own personal machine that acts as a server is definitely more proactive and better for newcomers than using an online web server that is like a Linux coding portal. So yeah, I learned a big lesson in there. And then on top of that,
Is
there's
the reason you'd think it's better to use a Mac Mini because the average user or an old MacBook Pro, whatever it is, the average user be more comfortable and they can watch it easier, and spinning up a virtual machine is just something they'll be uncomfortable with? Why do you think it's a better solution?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it does come down to the UI and the startup, right? So I struggled so much jumping into a Linux terminal and trying to understand Windows PowerShell at first, then getting nowhere with doing that on the PC. Then I booted up an AWS server with EC2 and I was looking at a Linux terminal and I had no idea. And right, sometimes using the commands, the prompts, it was so unhelpful that when I had to troubleshoot, I had no idea. I had to use another like code. I was asking Claude, I was asking ChatGPT, like, I've broken
Got
this,
it.
help me. And then when I booted up that Mac Mini for the first time, I'm launching into terminal. I can actively see what's going on. I can recognize mistakes. For example, my Claude token. So many people have that same issue of connecting and hatching it from the TUI for the first time. Nothing happens. And you don't realize that when you're copying and pasting your token key, there's a space in it because naturally that's what the Mac terminal window gives you. It's a key with a space in it. So there were so many differences that you could visualize instantly. And by having that in front of you, I just found it phenomenally better. And even troubleshooting anything. For example, I made a tiny piece of content a day later where I had fully broken my agent. And it just felt so much better to just plug in the HDMI cable to the Mac Mini, take a look at what's going on, screenshot it, like record to Claude or ChatGPT. Like, look, this is what's going on. I have no technical background. I don't understand how to troubleshoot this. Help me.
So, and then the value, of course, of having it in the cloud, Lon, is you don't need to buy a machine, but you're probably going to be using some things you're unfamiliar with. So there's going to be some balance. Ultimately, Lon, there's going to be more third-party services that kind of bridge this gap and abstract a little bit of the technical onboarding issues.
Launch is a fast-growing organization. We've got more than a dozen employees working with me here in Austin and another dozen spread out all over the world. But there's so many moving parts when it comes to hiring and managing employees. There's the onboarding, of course, payroll. You got to pay them. And listen, I've got all these podcasts to do. I don't have time for payroll, benefits, HR, taxes, answering questions. Nor do I want to hire a full-time person and then have them do 5 hours of work a week. No, I have the perfect partner, Gusto. They're the all-in-one payroll and benefit product that's built just for your small business. Easy to use, it's incredibly fast to get started, and it's designed specifically with remote offices in mind. And Gusto is not just giving you helpful tools, they're going that extra mile to keep your workers happy and keep everything running smoothly. And they're now offering level-funded health plans to keep your insurance costs down and on-demand pay to help workers get access to their cash faster without paying extra interest or hidden fees. So here's your call to action. We want you to try Gusto today. So we're giving you 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months free, Free. That's my favorite price, folks. Go to gusto.com/twist. That's Gusto, Gusto.com/twist. What an amazing service and a partner, great partner.